We all remember when the original Xbox came out in 2001. For those who weren't yet with us, this was a glorious time. The Xbox was up against the PS2, the Nintendo GameCube, and the Sega Dreamcast. Competition was fierce, but it's safe to say the Xbox won this showdown. And many aspects unique to its business model later became the industry standard. As with many behemoths, pride came before the fall. And nowadays we're not so sure the Xbox can lay claim to the throne. So stick around as we vent our rage about 10 Xbox fails Microsoft wants you to forget. If you haven't already, subscribe and like this video to support the team. Online only. Okay, before we really dive into the list of Xbox fails, we need to air some beef immediately. You'll notice throughout this list there's tremendous pressure in the video game industry to isolate its gamers. Each gamer needs their own account, their own online subscription, their own this, their own that. Bottom line, most games today require far more cash than the initial outlay. $60 for the game plus $400 for the console all in to play a video game seems reasonable, you may think. Well, you know nothing, Jon Snow. And this is why we're kicking off this list with Microsoft's feeble attempt to make the Xbox One online only. Oh yeah, they tried to make the Xbox One online only, meaning the Xbox, your $400 purchase, would be worthless unless it was connected to the internet all the time. That means you need to be signed into your Xbox Live account all the time. Outrageous. We could hardly believe it at the time. Luckily, the backlash was so fierce, and rightly so, Microsoft cowered and permitted the Xbox hardware to run offline. Just thinking about this still makes our blood boil because we know they will eventually have their way. We get it, you want our money. Does it have to be so slap in the face obvious? Pistol packing power. Let's get over to some games. As easy as it is to really tear into Microsoft, let's give them a little credit for Halo. That's the first Halo on the first generation Xbox. This combo was iconic. The success alone launched a massive merchandising campaign as well as several web series spin-offs, not to mention the film that sadly never made it to production. In addition, the draw was massive. If you were one of the unlucky few who gambled on the PS2 after having decided between the two, you probably had buyer's remorse, the likes of which we've never seen. Halo alone was worth the console purchase. And here's where we get to the pistol. We wonder how many of you remember using the pistol as your primary weapon. Halo was all about shot placement, regardless of distance. The bullets traveled like lasers, and so the lowly pistol became a weapon of dominance. Used for long-distance headshots and even up-close battles, the Halo pistol was truly one of the most unintentionally powerful weapons in the game. Until they changed it. Yeah, this pistol was so powerful players would dominate with it. So much so that Xbox reduced the power in later Halo games to re-establish a more fitting place on the hierarchy of weaponry. Red Ring of Death. Oh yeah, this one. So far we've been using the word Xbox to refer to all iterations of the Xbox, but this one is just for the Xbox 360. Probably one of the biggest problems to affect the Xbox, sort of like a car recall, was the dreaded Red Ring of Death. Although lots of players were lucky enough to encounter this issue within their warranty period, many were not. Basically, it's just death. Your Xbox just dies with little to no warning. It was a huge fail because we all like to be mindful of our money, but with the Red Ring of Death, nothing says wasted money like a $400 piece of trash. To top it all off, this case was never formally solved either. It's a problem stemming from a variety of reasons. Many people speculated about the origins of this issue, and we're sure some may have cured their Xbox, but honestly, who knows? Did you ever attempt the penny trick as a last resort? Let us know in the comment section. Since we're thinking about it, this may have been a problem Microsoft simply brushed under the rug. We know Xboxes don't have a red ring anymore, so it makes us wonder. The original controller. Who doesn't remember playing Halo when it first came out with the original Xbox controller? We certainly remember. It was very, how can we say, different. And by different, we mean huge. As in freakishly huge. Especially in the center where there's this large bulbous Xbox logo, which is exactly what you'd want according to Microsoft in 2001, a giant Xbox logo in the middle of prime controller real estate. The controller was a surprising step backwards. We were blown away by the Nintendo 64 controller, and given this controller was released 5 years earlier, it seemed like a no-brainer the Xbox controller would be equally mind-blowing. It was not. How wrong we were. It wasn't game-changing at all. In fact, shortly after releasing the product into the wild, it was replaced by the S controller we know today. While the controller did take some getting used to, it was more than playable in the end. It wasn't bad by any means, but it was a total letdown. In the end, we would have liked to see the Xbox launch with a controller more like the N64 or the S controller, not the Dreamcast. Who knows though? This thing will probably end up as a collector's item soon enough. Smart glass. Alright, we have to come clean here. We've been researching the Xbox Smart Glass, and this thing was such a massive fail, we still have no idea what it's for. Don't get us wrong, we understand the idea. It allows users to connect their smartphone, tablet, and Xbox together, so that players can receive specific content on those devices. In theory, sounds great. It certainly sounds like a more immersive game-playing experience. We're picking up a Minority Report style vibe combined with just regular 21st century technology, all in the comfort of our basements. Sounds great. How could this possibly go wrong? Well, it was pretty obvious actually. Smartphone operating systems are the worst. Plain and simple, fragmentation is rife. How could they ever expect to have the correct interface for the correct mobile device with the correct software version? Pretty much impossible. Secondly, they launched the Smart Glass on the Xbox 360 in 2012. Ambitious considering we can't really do it well even in 2017. And lastly, it was simply impractical. Using a phone and a TV in a larger Nintendo 3DS way? Maybe, but customers said no thanks. At first, we questioned how these decision makers got their jobs, but then we realized, who cares? It was a hilarious waste of money, nothing more. Xbox Kinect. This should probably be number one because it still brings a chuckle to our faces. We get it, the Kinect was released near the time of the Wii, offering similar motion controlled abilities, but it wasn't the best effort. Although the Wii did very well, selling over 100 million units despite being a novelty purchase for many, it never penetrated the serious gaming market that is the Xbox customer. We're guessing some of our readers remember the activator for the Sega Genesis on Mortal Kombat. There's only so many times I can do a flying kick, and you'd think Xbox would have picked up on this obvious fact. In addition, besides the awful spelling, Microsoft got a little too creepy. Though they tried, there was no sugarcoating the fact that your Kinect was always on, always listening. Many users had difficulty accepting this. Basically, the Kinect was just a recording device for $100. And in this age of sharing location data, you can never be sure. Lastly, let's not forget the strange capabilities of the Kinect camera itself. Not only can it record your movements in total darkness, it also seems to be picking up strange entities from beyond the grave. Yeah, many users are catching ghosts on their Kinect. Who would have thought? Xbox One launch. Somebody probably got fired over this. Do you remember the Xbox One launch? We certainly do because it was a total abomination. When the Xbox One initially launched, it was bundled with the Kinect. There was no other way to purchase the Xbox One other than with the Kinect. So if you wanted the Xbox One, you had to purchase this creepy recording device as well. If this setback wasn't enough, the Xbox One was priced $100 higher than the PS4, because apparently it's important we pay for things we don't want. Because of these factors, many people purchased the PS4 over the Xbox One, and Microsoft lost tremendous amounts of money in the initial sales. Given that the PS4 was the underdog, Sony made a strong push for sales, and quite frankly, by not being creepy, they were able to teach Microsoft a lesson. Shortly after the losses became too much, Microsoft relaunched the Xbox One without the Kinect for $100 less, and sales came roaring back. Looking back at this scenario, the consumers really stepped up in a big way. This example is a great illustration of consumers voting with their dollars. If something's not right, don't buy it. They'll be forced to listen sooner or later. Updates. If you've purchased an Xbox One or PS4, you know all too well about this massive fail. And it's ongoing. Yep, we're talking about installation and update waiting times. And nowhere in sight is there a solution. Has Microsoft ever even acknowledged this fact? If there was a fail Xbox wishes you'd forget most, it would definitely be this one. Gone are the days of buying a video game and playing it immediately. Gone are the days of instant gratification. Nowadays, when you put a disc in, you can expect to not play for the next several hours. Those lengthy, hours-long installation and update times are so brutal, it's laughably ridiculous. We've heard horror stories about some installation times that in combination with updates have gone on for over 12 hours. In fairness, it partly depends on your internet connection though. When thinking about this issue, it was never a problem with the original Xbox. So we have to ask, has graphic technology really outgrown the development of CPU technology? External HD DVD player. Oh yeah, we forgot about this one completely. This is another example of corporate greediness getting a taste of what it deserves. If you were one of those who bought the Xbox 360, we bet you were surprised when you found out the DVD player was actually incapable of playing HD DVDs. Even though this console set you back far more than any HD DVD player available at the time, you still had to buy their peripheral in order to watch HD movies. Simply infuriating. We bet most people were surprised by this one because they would have assumed, of course, that their latest purchase supports the latest technology. Wrong. We know HD DVDs were all the rage at the time, and Microsoft surely must have thought people would be lining up to fork over $200 for an external HD DVD player. But they were wrong. We remember this, and we remember thinking, what a slap in the face. Well, if you were hoping for some justice, Sony had your back. Luckily, their competing console had Blu-ray standard, and that may have actually led to the eventual dominance of Blu-ray over HD. Everything's for sale. For the devoted Xbox livers, this one's for you. Does it seem like over the years the Xbox has become increasingly aggressive in demanding money for features that should otherwise be free? It started off with the servers. At the time, PlayStation and Xbox were pioneering online multiplayer. And while the PlayStation was free, the Xbox cost money. Sure, the money went to purchase dedicated servers, but is this really the case anymore? Now it's the industry standard, so we can expect online multiplayer to always cost money moving forward. Focusing on the hardware, we've seen Xbox intentionally restrict features such as the arcade Xbox 360 bundle to the point where it's unplayable, literally, or where they unnecessarily burden the product with undesirable features like the Kinect. Forcing you to purchase peripherals you otherwise wouldn't isn't good business. Add on map packs, in-game purchases, rising costs for Xbox Live, and we have to ask, when will the Xbox return to gaming's roots? You know, when it was about getting together with your buddies and playing GoldenEye 007 on the N64 until 4 AM? We miss those days. We know we could go on all day about Microsoft fails, but which one do you think was the most egregious? Be sure to let us know in the comment section. Give this video a big thumbs up and be sure to click the notification bell so you can stay up to date with all our videos. Thanks for watching.